They laughed when I got demoted. Not quietly either. Not the polite kind of laughter people hide behind fake sympathy. This was open, comfortable, almost relieved, like they had been waiting for my fall and finally got their entertainment. By noon, my office keycard had been downgraded. By 2, my title was gone. By the end of the day, the man who had copied half my ideas was sitting in my chair, smiling like he had built the company himself. Nobody asked why the only division still hitting targets had suddenly lost its director. Nobody asked why the person warning about waste was being punished. They just assumed I was finished. 3 months later, the board called my name, not his, not the CEO's, mine. My demotion was announced in a 6-minute meeting disguised as a restructuring update. The CEO stood with that practiced expression executives wear. He wanted cruelty to sound strategic. He said the company needed fresh alignment. He said some leaders had become too rigid. What he meant was simple. I had made the mistake of telling the truth in rooms where truth was expensive. For months, I had warned them that procurement costs were being buried. I had flagged duplicated fees. I had pointed out losses. And every time I raised it, the room got colder. So when the announcement came, I recognized it for what it was. This wasn't a performance decision. It was a warning to everyone else. Stay quiet, or sit where he now sat. My replacement's name was Aaron. He was polished, loud, and dangerously confident. A man who thought conviction was visionary. He had never managed a crisis, never rebuilt a failing unit. He just knew how to flatter the CEO. In that building, that skill paid. The morning after my demotion, he walked into my former office with a grin so wide it looked rehearsed. He shook hands like a coronation. He told my old team they were entering a new era of speed. He promised faster approvals, faster launches, and faster revenue. Some people clapped because they were scared, others because they were ambitious. A few avoided looking at me entirely. I said nothing, because sometimes the fastest way to expose incompetence is to stop protecting it. Most people think revenge starts with anger. Mine started with silence. I didn't argue. I didn't send emotional emails. I moved into the smaller office they gave me. No window, no assistant, no authority. And I watched. I watched Aaron approve the vendor expansion I had rejected. I watched him cut internal controls. The CEO praised him, said he was decisive, said he moved with confidence, said this was what bold leadership looked like. They didn't realize shortcuts leave a trail. And every system eventually begins to speak through failure. So I documented everything to prepare for the moment they had to listen. The first crack appeared in the monthly numbers. Nothing dramatic, just a slight miss in margin, a delay in costs, a discrepancy. Aaron brushed it off. He blamed seasonality. He blamed vendor onboarding. The CEO backed him immediately. But I knew those numbers. What I saw wasn't friction. It was structural bleed. The kind that starts behind walls, quiet, invisible, until the building smells like smoke. By the second month, the miss had widened. A key client escalated missed deadlines. Procurement costs rose while efficiency improved on paper. Someone was managing optics, not operations. And once I saw that, I stopped wondering whether they would fail. I started calculating when. Organizations don't collapse all at once. They whisper first. A finance analyst I used to mentor asked if I had 10 minutes. They always know. Not because they have better titles, but because they live closer to the damage. I kept my face neutral and my voice calm. I just listened. People were being pressured to harmonize reports, a pretty word for altering the story. I thanked them, saved the documents, logged dates, because panic makes people careless, and careless people leave evidence. The CEO doubled down instead of correcting course. At the town hall, he called Aaron's division the model for the future. I watched from the back while people applauded lines they didn't believe. They were building strategy on fabricated stability. If they were wrong, the company wouldn't just miss targets, it would lose credibility, trust. That night, I built my own shadow file, not a revenge memo, a case, numbers, timelines, approvals, false assumptions. The truth, impossible to bury. The investigation didn't begin with drama. It began with a calendar invite. Within an hour, whispers started moving through the building like smoke. Audit was involved. Legal had been seen on the executive floor. Aaron tried to act normal, too normal. Fear had entered the room. That's how you know fear has entered the room, when language becomes cleaner than reality. Requests for documentation were going out. And then something happened. My name started appearing in the document trail, not because I was responsible, but because I had challenged it. The further the audit team dug, the more often they found me on the right side of the record. The mood changed overnight. Executives now nodded quickly. Aaron began emergency meetings. He tried to rewrite history. Sloppy revisions leave fingerprints. Fingerprints I had. The CEO passed me and stopped. I trust you're staying focused. It wasn't casual. I met his eyes. I've never been more focused. He walked away. The board called me in privately on a Thursday morning. 3 members. Risk chair, audit lead. No theatrics, just the silence that matters. They asked, "When did you first realize the reporting was unreliable?" That told me everything they already knew. Now they were measuring trust. I didn't defend myself. I didn't mention politics. I opened my folder and I began with the numbers. In rooms like that, data is power. I walked them through it. Procurement inflation, duplicated spend, dashboards designed to delay recognition of loss, every page connected. The audit lead asked, "Did you share these concerns?" I slid 3 printed email chains across the table. Dated, logged, escalated. He said nothing. I showed them something worse. The team claiming surprise had personally removed the controls. Not a mistake, a choice. That changed the room. By afternoon, the CEO summoned me. Aaron was there, pretending calm. The CEO stood by the window like a man rehearsing authority. He spoke of loyalty. Loyalty. That word appears when accountability becomes expensive. Aaron said my data lacked context. I let him finish. Then I placed the signatures. His signature, his date, his override. Aaron stopped speaking. The CEO looked at the documents, then at me. For the first time, he looked unsure. At the next session, the room was full. Danger full. The CEO tried to frame it as an execution gap. Isolated misjudgments. The chair asked, "Explain the chain." So I did. Warnings to removed controls. Removed controls to distorted reporting. Distorted reporting to overcommitment. Overcommitment to financial exposure. I showed where I had been sidelined precisely because I had documented it. That was the moment the room turned. You can feel a board turn. Aaron tried one last defense, said it was personal, resentment. The chair asked, "Are you suggesting these are fabricated?" Aaron looked at the CEO. Mistake. Unity is persuasive only when trust still exists. This was no longer about embarrassment, it was about exposure. The board asked management to step out. I remained, not because I had power, but because I had evidence. The door closed. For the first time, nobody was speaking over me. They asked about recovery. What could be paused? What was reliable? I answered precisely. No drama. Competent people don't celebrate fire just because they smelled smoke first. 10 minutes later, the door reopened. The CEO didn't come out. Aaron didn't come out. The chair did. The board has voted to remove current oversight. Then he looked at me. We have one question. Can you fix this? Not were you treated unfairly? Can you fix this? That's the only question that matters. I thought about the laughter, the demotion, The silence. Then I answered, I already did. Because while they were protecting image, I had preserved structure. My return wasn't announced with applause. It was announced with urgency, interim authority, direct reporting, a building forced to relearn competence. People moved differently. Some avoided eye contact. Some offered congratulations too fast. Aaron's office was cleared. The CEO's nameplate was gone. I stood in the doorway of my old room and felt nothing theatrical, no victory, no satisfaction, just clarity. Titles don't protect anyone. I got to work. Within 72 hours, the story changed. Caution was now discipline. Controls once mocked were now safeguards. Truth becomes popular after failure. The board gave me latitude because they trusted the evidence. Once the real numbers were rebuilt, the damage was undeniable. It was worse than I thought. People asked why I stayed, why I didn't resign. The answer was simple. Because I wasn't trying to win an argument. I was waiting for the right battlefield. Staying gave me visibility. I saw the shortcuts they took. I saw who lied, who chose safety over truth. Silence wasn't surrender. It was surveillance. The funniest part is that they thought I was out. Demoted, reduced. They thought smaller office meant smaller influence. They thought silence was defeat. When leadership becomes performance, the person closest to the truth becomes dangerous. When failure reaches the boardroom, the one pushed aside is the one who explains. 3 months later, the board called my name. Not because they felt sorry, because numbers do not care who is popular. Competence has a way of returning.